Rams fans are eager for this. Seeing the team take the field again to chase the Super Bowl, man, I've got a good feeling about this year. But today, I want to talk about a topic that's got the whole NFL buzzing. Have the Los Angeles Rams quietly assembled the most valuable roster in the entire NFL? A recent analysis by ESPN sparked a major debate among football fans, and if you're a Rams supporter, there's a good chance you'll disagree with some of these rankings. One thing is clear after reading this list. People around the league might be underestimating just how powerful the Rams' roster actually is. Well, before I give you the details, make sure you smash that like button. But only do it if you're a true Rams fan. If you can, write this: Go Rams! My heart bleeds blue and gold. It's great to see fans of all ages here. Let's get straight to the point, as this topic is a hot one among Rams fans. ESPN's Bill Barnwell recently evaluated NFL players based on their trade value, estimating which athletes across the league would command at least a first-round draft pick if they were available. Of course, that doesn't mean these players are actually being traded. In fact, the expectation is that the Rams have absolutely no intention of trading any of these stars. However, the rankings themselves reveal something interesting about how the rest of the NFL might view this roster. The big name at the top of the list shouldn't surprise anyone at all. Myles Garrett stands alone as the Rams' most valuable player, according to Barnwell's assessment. He is the only player on the team considered valuable enough to command 2 or more first-round draft picks. And considering everything that went into bringing him to Los Angeles, it's easy to see why. The Rams made one of the biggest moves in franchise history to bring Garrett to Los Angeles. The deal required significant resources, but looking at Garrett's career achievements, many believe the Rams managed to secure one of the sport's best defensive players without paying the absolute top price an athlete of his caliber could command. Garrett has consistently proven himself as one of the most dominant defenders in the NFL. Every season he creates pressure, changes games, and forces opposing offenses to completely change their game plans. Elite pass rushers are among the rarest players in football, and Garrett belongs in that category. That's why there is almost universal agreement that if he were somehow available, multiple teams would line up with massive offers. Fortunately for Rams fans, there's virtually no scenario where Los Angeles would even consider moving him. But while Garrett's position at the top of the list makes sense, that's where the debate really begins. One player who immediately sparked disagreement was Puka Nacua. According to Barnwell's evaluation, Puka falls into the category of being worth 1 first-round pick, or slightly more. On paper, that sounds like an incredible compliment. After all, first-round picks are among the most valuable assets in the NFL. But when you look at what Puka has already accomplished, many Rams fans feel that ranking doesn't even come close to reflecting his true value. Puka has rapidly developed into one of the elite receivers in football. His production speaks for itself, but it's not just the numbers that make him special. His toughness, his ability to make contested catches, his route running, his willingness to block, and the chemistry he has built with Matthew Stafford make him one of the most complete wide receivers in today's game. Barnwell's explanation suggested that some teams could view Puka as an especially good fit within Sean McVay's offensive system, implying that his value might be slightly tied to the scheme. While it's true that McVay consistently puts his players in excellent positions to succeed, many fans believe that idea sells Puka short. Elite receivers don't become elite simply because of the system. They create separation. They make impossible catches. They produce against the league's toughest defenses. Puka has repeatedly shown he can do exactly that. Whether it's finding soft spots in coverage, fighting for extra yards after the catch, or delivering in the biggest moments, he has become one of the faces of this offense in a remarkably short period of time. That's why plenty of Rams fans believe that if a hypothetical trade ever existed, which it almost certainly never will, it would take far more than a single first-round pick to even start the conversation. Another interesting name on the list is Kobe Turner. Turner has steadily developed into one of the most important young players on the Rams defense. Interior defensive linemen who consistently create pressure are extremely difficult to find, and Turner has demonstrated that ability at a very high level. Barnwell's evaluation, placing him around first-round value, feels much closer to where many people expected. However, even here, there are factors that complicate his market value. Contract situations always play a role in trade discussions across the NFL. Teams don't simply evaluate talent. They also consider years remaining on contracts, future negotiations, salary cap implications, and long-term roster planning. Even with those considerations, Turner remains one of the foundational pieces that the Rams are expected to build around moving forward. Then comes Braden Fisk, another young defender whose value generated plenty of discussion. Barnwell believes Fisk belongs among players worth at least a first-round selection. While acknowledging Fisk's impressive rookie campaign, there are also questions about whether his most recent season fully supports that valuation. His production remained solid, but some observers believe another dominant season would remove any doubt about his place among the league's most valuable young defensive linemen. Regardless of where someone lands in that debate, one thing is clear. The Rams continue to build one of the youngest and deepest defensive fronts in football, creating a foundation that could remain together for years. The conversation doesn't stop there. Matthew Stafford also appears on the list, and his ranking has become another point of discussion among Rams fans. Yes, Stafford is one of the oldest starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Age naturally affects trade value in almost every professional sport. But evaluating Stafford only through the lens of age ignores everything else he brings to a football team. Quarterbacks capable of leading championship-caliber offenses simply don't become available very often. Stafford's experience, leadership, decision-making, arm talent, and ability to elevate everyone around him continue to make him one of the league's most respected veterans. If a quarterback of his caliber were somehow available, there would almost certainly be significant interest throughout the NFL. Byron Young also received recognition, although some believe his value was once again underestimated. Edge rushers who consistently pressure quarterbacks remain among the league's premium positions. Young has shown the ability to produce, and his continued development gives the Rams another dangerous weapon alongside Garrett. Having multiple players capable of disrupting opposing quarterbacks is exactly how championship defenses are built. Finally, Trent McDuffie enters the discussion. Some believe his valuation doesn't fully align with what teams have previously been willing to give up in major trades involving comparable talent. That's part of what makes these rankings so fascinating. Trade value is never an exact science. Every front office values players differently based on age, contract, positional importance, scheme fit, and organizational philosophy. That's why lists like this always generate debate. Some fans focus entirely on production. Others prioritize age and future potential. Some emphasize contracts. Others believe elite talent should always outweigh every other consideration. What this evaluation ultimately highlights is something Rams fans have believed for quite some time. This roster is loaded. Across both sides of the football, Los Angeles has assembled a combination of proven veterans and emerging stars that gives the team legitimate championship aspirations. Garrett headlines a defense filled with young talent. Stafford continues to guide an offense featuring one of football's brightest young receivers in Puka Nacua. The defensive front continues getting stronger. The offensive system remains one of the league's most respected under Sean McVay. Whether every player is valued correctly in ESPN's rankings almost becomes secondary. The bigger takeaway is that multiple Rams players are now viewed among the NFL's most valuable assets. That's exactly where championship teams want to be. It reflects strong drafting, aggressive roster building, and an organization willing to make bold moves when opportunities arise. As training camp approaches and excitement continues to build, fans will soon stop debating hypothetical trade values and start focusing on what really matters: what this roster can accomplish together on the field. If this team performs the way many expect, conversations about player value may look very different by the end of the season. Some of these names could see their value rise even higher. Others may silence every remaining doubter through their play. For now, though, one question remains at the center of the discussion. Has the rest of the NFL truly recognized how talented this Rams roster has become? Or are analysts still underestimating what Los Angeles has built? Now it's your turn, Rams fans. Do you agree with these trade value rankings? Which Rams player do you believe is actually the most valuable on the roster, and which player do you think ESPN underestimated the most? Share your thoughts in the comments, because this debate is only getting started.